RUF by Jonathan, Evan, and Trenton.
How did the RUF affect the culture of Sierra Leone and its people?
The RUF is short for the Revolutionary United Front, which is a guerrilla unit that was formed in 1991. They caused a civil war between themselves and the government in Sierra Leone that lasted around 11 years. The RUF's main calling cards were killing civilians or leaving them alive with their feet, hands, ears, or genitals amputated. They were also known for raping many women and forcing children to join their ranks.
The leader of the RUF was Fodo Sanko. Charles Taylor and Sanko founded the RUF. The RUF's actions caused great instability within the country as they were trying to overthrow the government. To pay their cause, both the army and the rebels financed themselves through diamonds. A large amount of fighting performed between the two groups was done to claim diamond mining areas. To give them the numbers they needed to fight, both the rebels and the army took and abducted many children and forced them to fight for them.
After Ishmael had been running from the rebels for a while, he eventually comes in contact with the army. When the soldier stood in front of me, I avoided eye contact, so he straightened my head until my eyes met his. He gave me the gun. I held it in my trembling hand. He added the magazine. I shook even more. Ishmael had some friends that ended up joining the army. Ishmael tried hard to avoid all the fighting of the Civil War, but once he came in contact with the army, there was nothing he could do but join them.
In 1995, the RUF issued a manifesto stating what their goals were. The manifesto stated that the country's states sponsored poverty and human degradation. So their goal was to create equal opportunity and access to power to create wealth through armed struggle. This is also why the RUF was formed and caused a civil war that started in 1991. Once they started their violence, the economy started crumbling and there was more factional turmoil within the government.
Children put in either the army or the rebels both ended up becoming brutal killers. The corporal gave them the signal with a pistol shot, and I grabbed the man's head and slit his throat in one fluid motion. His Adam's apple made way with the sharp knife, and I turned the bayonet on a zigzag edge as I brought it out. Ishmael and other army companions are killing men to see who can do it the fastest. These ruthless actions of children are encouraged by the war frightened the population of Sierra Leone.
The RUF faltered when the government enlisted the help of private military executive outcomes. After more fighting in 1996, the RUF called for a ceasefire, in which they started peace talks. However, the RUF continued attacks during the peace talks.
Ahmad Kaba was elected as new president of Sierra Leone in February 1996, but in May 1997 there was a military revolt that exiled Kaba and his government. This group of soldiers called themselves the Armed Forces Revolutionary Council, or the AFRC, and they allied themselves with the RUF. They often called them Sobels since their forces were a mix of rebels and the AFRC. Under the Sobels' reign, everything turned to chaos. Lawlessness caused the economy to come to a standstill.
Ishmael is in the city when the Sobes take it over. Sobes, as they called, had begun blowing up bank vaults using RPGs and other explosives and looting the money. Sometimes the Sobes hated people as they walked by, searched them, and took whatever they could find. Ishmael experiences when the army and the RUF united during the time that he was in the city. For Ishmael and his new family, everything becomes an uncertainty while havoc reigns down on the city.
Due to the state of chaos in the country was in, the Economic Community of West Africa States came and stopped the Armed Forces Revolutionary Council. In March 1998, Kaba came back and was able to take back the country. The RUF leader, Sanko, was caught and sentenced to death October 1998. During that time, Armed Forces Revolutionary Council was being pursued by the Economic Community of West African States. It undertook Operation No Living Thing. They did a countrywide sweep, abducting, murdering, and dismembering thousands of people.
On July 7, 1999, a peace accord called the Loma Agreement was signed. This agreement said that the AFRC and the RUF forces would be disarmed, but they would be given representation in the government. Despite the agreement, the soldiers continued to attack civilians and UN peacekeeping troops. The overall disarmament of the AFRC started in May 2001. The Civil War was officially declared over in January 2002.
The Civil War is an excellent example of what happens when chaos overwhelms order and what violence can do to people. The RUF tears apart the stability of Sierra Leone government. This causes the culture of Sierra Leone citizens to change drastically. All of its people are now filled with fear and they have lost their trust in the people around them. In their everyday life during the war, they face unpredictable, dangerous circumstances. Once the war is finished, all of its survivors are tainted by their experiences. To review, the Revolutionary United Front, or RUF, was a rebel army that failed a 10 years brutal civil war that started in 1991 and ended in 2002. Later, the RUF became a political party that lasted until 2007.
The end.